Okay, so this is a tutorial on basic color correction in Adobe Photoshop. Now when you launch Adobe Photoshop, it's just like most Microsoft programs that you're used to. You just go to File, and then you go to Open, and choose wherever your image is located. So I already have my image up. So the first thing you want to do when you open up an image is you want to copy the layer that image is on. To do that, you can hit Control J if you're on a PC, or Apple J if you're on a Mac, or you can come up here to Layer and hit Duplicate Layer. So, and you'll see down here on your Layers palette, you'll see this come up right here with an extra layer. And what this will do is, if you mess something up during editing, you can always delete the layer that you've edited on and go back to the original. So now to begin with the basic color correction, we want to open our curves menu. To do that, you can hit Apple M or Control M on a PC, or you can go to Image, Adjustments, and Curves. Now you'll see this pulls up this menu here. Down here at the bottom, you'll see we have 3 eyedroppers. That's black, gray, and white. And you always want to start with the white eyedropper. It's the one on the right. So we're going to click that. And all you have to do is come over here and find a white spot on your image. So I'm going to click right there. And if you see that this blows your image out too much, all you have to do is you can hit cancel and it will go back to how it was, or you can hit Control Z or Apple Z on a Mac and that will undo. Anytime you're in Photoshop and you do something that you want to undo, Apple Z or Control Z will undo that, or you can go to Edit and step back. So right now I like the way that did, so I'm going to come over here and click the black eyedropper. You always use the black eyedropper second, and then you're going to find a black spot on your image, and as you can see, that's already changed it quite a bit. Now you have this gray eyedropper here in the middle. Most of the time I don't use the gray eyedropper. You can, but you only want to use it on non-reflective, non-metal surfaces, otherwise it does some weird things. So for now I like what that's done, so I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and that's going to save our changes. So I'm going to open up the curves menu again. I'm going to hit Control M or Apple M on a Mac, and as you'll see up here it says channel. Now this means right here where it says RGB, that means red, green, blue. If you're on RGB, you're adjusting them all at the same time. Now if you have a color cast where you have too much of one color or not enough of one color, you can come down here and choose that color individually, and you can either add in or take away that color. But for now we don't have a color cast on this image, so I'm just going to stay on the RGB and adjust them as a whole. Now you'll see this line here going up at a diagonal. All these little shaded areas, this represents all your shadows and highlights in here. So basically all you have to do is grab this line and pull it to adjust your image, and you can see it start adjusting your image. Generally you want to keep this line adjusted in an S shape when you're adjusting it. Now if something happens and you do something crazy like that, all you have to do is grab this point and pull it off, and it'll take away that point. So I'm going to adjust it up a little bit, and I think that looks pretty good right there, so I'm going to hit OK to save our changes. Now as you can see down here on our layers palette, you'll notice there are 2 layers. If you see the 2 little eyeballs here, the eyeball indicates that you're actually seeing that layer. So if you want to turn the eyeball off, you can see what we originally started with. And if you like the changes we've made, you turn your eyeball back on. And if you don't like the changes, you can just click and drag that layer and throw it in the trash can and start over again. So I like the changes that's been made, so I'm going to go to File and Save As. Now you'll see down here in Format it says PSD. That's what it defaults to. A PSD is only going to open in Photoshop or Photoshop programs. I'm sorry, Adobe programs for the most part. So, but what a PSD does is it allows you to keep the layer so you can come back and re-edit later. Most of the time you're going to want to save it as a JPEG. This will open pretty much on any computer. Or you have a TIFF file, which is a lossless file, which means every time you open it up you're not going to lose quality every time you open it up like you will with a JPEG. So you can choose either JPEG or TIFF depending on what your computer will open. I'm just going to choose JPEG and come up here and rename our image. So Hit OK, and then you'll see the JPEG options menu comes up, and you can choose what quality file you want it to save as, down here to very low quality to the highest quality possible. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and that's going to save it. So that's it for our basic color correction tutorial in Adobe Photoshop.